The NFL has seen everything from top-notch technique to teams that should have considered a career change. There are the champions, the middle of the pack, and then those squads so woefully off the mark that they make us wonder if they picked the wrong profession. 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Boldly stepping into the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made their grand entrance in 1976, a year that would be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Not quite the dazzling debut they hoped for, they became notorious as the first team to complete a 14-game season without winning or tying a single game. Oh, and scoring? They barely knew her. It took 3 games before they even put points on the board, and 4 games to score a touchdown. Talk about a slow start. Their season was a blend of inexperience and misfortune. Constructed mostly of aging veterans, the team lacked the youthful spark often seen in new squads. Adding insult to injury, literally, they had 17 players on injury reserve by season's end. With such a creaky roster, it's no wonder they were last in the league in points scored, touchdowns, and rushing touchdowns. Better luck next time doesn't even begin to cover it. Their coach, John McKay, brought a colorful personality to the mix. Known for his wisecracks, he tried to lighten the mood. But even his humor couldn't mask the team's struggles. Which one was it? Asked an assistant coach when penalized for having 12 players on the field. Oh, if only that extra player could have made a difference. 2008 Detroit Lions. Fast forward to 2008, and the Detroit Lions took the baton of infamy from the Buccaneers. They distinguished themselves as the first team to go winless in a 16-game season. Starting off with high hopes after an undefeated preseason, their dreams quickly turned to dust as they set a franchise record for points allowed. Talk about a defense that couldn't defend. This disastrous season led to a complete overhaul of the team management. Out went team president Matt Millen and head coach Ron Marinelli, along with most of his staff. "You're fired" seemed to be the theme of the season. And the players weren't spared either, with key figures like Kevin Jones and Kalimba Edwards shown the door. It was essentially a garage sale, but nobody was buying success. 2017 Cleveland Browns. Okay, so they just joined this exclusive club of despair. Doubling down on their previous season's 1-15 record, they plunged into the abyss of a winless season. Consistently inconsistent could have been their motto. They set a new low by becoming the first NFL team to have consecutive seasons with 15 or more losses. Their losing streaks were like no other. Minus 21 games from home, 17 within their division, and every single home game that season. The management carousel spun wildly. General manager Sashi Brown was dismissed. Joe Thomas, a beacon of durability, missed his first Pro Bowl due to injury, and several coaches were fired in a bid to change fortunes. Change is the only constant, they said. Well, that and losing, apparently. 2009 St. Louis Rams. Alright, so picture this. The 2009 St. Louis Rams, right? These guys had a rough time. I mean, really rough. They scored a grand total of fewer points than their opponents by a whopping negative 261 points. That's like showing up to a pie-eating contest and forgetting to bring the pies. Their offense was so ineffective, it's now known as one of the worst in NFL history. Imagine trying to start a car with no engine. That's how their offense worked. The cherry on top? They got 0 points in their first 2 games. Yep, nada, zip. It's like they forgot the rules of football or something. 1960 Dallas Cowboys. Now, let's talk about the 1960 Dallas Cowboys. These guys were the new kids on the block. It was their first season. Under the guidance of Tom Landry, a legendary coach in the making, they had a bit of a bumpy start. And by bumpy, I mean they didn't win a single game. Ouch! Their record was a mix of losses and a single tie. A tie! It's like going on a first date and getting a handshake at the end. Not exactly the debut season they were hoping for. 1982 Baltimore Colts. The 1982 season for the Baltimore Colts was shorter than the list of good sequels to classic movies. Blame it on a player strike. Basically a big timeout for grown-ups and shoulder pads. This unexpected break meant fewer games, but for the Colts, it didn't really matter. Even with a shortened season, Winning was as elusive as a cat in a game of tag. They played 9 games and never came out on top. The only thing that saved them from a total washout was one tie. Think of it as a consolation prize in a lottery. You don't win, but hey, at least you got something. Following this forgettable performance, the team up and moved to Indianapolis. 1990 New England Patriots. Long before they were the NFL's Darth Vader, the 1990 New England Patriots were struggling. They were like a band that only knows one song, and it's not a hit. Their losing streak stretched to 14 games. These losses were not just by a hair, they were more like complete haircuts. We're talking major defeats, the kind where fans started wearing bags over their heads. Before the era of Tom Brady and winning Super Bowls became a hobby, the Patriots were the punchline of the league. Imagine a superhero movie where the hero forgets how to fly. That was the Patriots in 1990. 1973 Houston Oilers. Let's dive into the 1973 Houston Oilers. Their defense was as effective as a screen door on a submarine. They finished the season with a negative 248-point differential. In just a 14-game season, their defense was more welcoming than a grandma on Thanksgiving. Every opposing team scored points like they were on a shopping spree. Their defense was so famously bad, it's etched in NFL history. They were so generous in giving points away, you'd think it was Christmas every game. The Oilers' defense was so full of holes, even non-football fans could tell something was off. Maybe having a few grandmas on the field wouldn't have been such a bad idea. At least they'd tell the players to straighten up and fly right. 2001 Carolina Panthers. These guys started with a bang and ended with a whimper. They won their season opener, and everyone was hopeful. But then, they went on a losing streak longer than a bad Monday. They lost 15 games straight. They missed out on the first overall draft pick due to the league expanding. Bad timing. You know, it's like when you finally make it to the front of the line, and then the store suddenly decides to close its doors. I mean, seriously, just one of those moments when you were really hoping for something good, but life had other plans, and it felt like a whole season of letdowns and chances slipping through your fingers. 1996 New York Jets. In 1996, the New York Jets were having a year to forget. Imagine being on a roller coaster that only goes down. That was the Jets in 96. They won just one game the whole season, and even that felt like a miracle. Their lone win was against the Arizona Cardinals, who were probably just as surprised as everyone else. Now, about their first pick in the NFL draft. Let's just say it was a head-scratcher. They had high hopes, but their choice didn't quite hit the mark. By the end of the season, everyone, including the team, was ready to move on and forget the whole ordeal. Did your favorite team make the list? Hopefully not. Like and subscribe for more sports fun. Your support keeps the good times rolling.